welcome to the KOFISI Connect podcast, your source for a wealth of roundtable discussions on the workplace and business, as well as cultural news and trends from the diverse and dynamic continent of Africa. This month at KOFISI, women are the focal point as we look at the journeys, challenges and triumphs that define their leadership stories with actionable insights for creating sustainable change. I'm your host, Georgia Webber, and today I'm very pleased to introduce Ayuma Michelle, a founder and storyteller consultant at Let's, and Susan Sulubu, who's the marketing director at Nampalka. Welcome both of you.
Thank you.
It's joyous to have you both in the studio with me today.
Happy to be here.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Glad to be back.
Talking about a subject that's very close to my heart. Michelle, through your storytelling and advocacy work, I suppose what barriers have you seen in your experience, and what do you see as barriers to women in leadership today in the continent?
That's a very good question. I would actually, because my work in consulting and coaching, I work one-on-one with women leaders. And one of the best things that I love about my work is that I get the behind the scenes of who this woman leader is. And so kindly allow me to begin with actual internal barriers, because most of the time people normally think it's systemic or it's cultural or it's all of this complex stuff that it's outside. But let's start with the internal barriers. I feel like many women leaders, to be very honest, many women feel two main things that have come across in my work. One, many of them don't feel like their stories are enough, that they feel they feel like they need to get yet another PhD. They need to be on a TEDx stage. They need to and keep adding until they feel perfect enough to now finally tell the world about what they do. And to be honest, that's why so many women's businesses, we don't see their faces. We don't see the ownership of the stories. We don't see and hear of the stories as to, for example, this woman who started her hair care line or her skincare line because it's her child who was suffering from eczema. Those are the stories we need to see. Those are the human stories. But because it's seen as a weakness, that story, we are denying the public such stories. And another one is, for example, always believing that somehow your work will speak for itself. You've gotten the credentials, you've done their amazing work. But we live in a world where the loudest person is heard. It doesn't matter whether you're qualified or not. So you have very qualified women who do excellent stuff. But because they aren't shouting loud enough about their work, and that doesn't come from a place of pride, it comes from a place of personal achievement. I personally believe women should shout about their achievements because they will then attract the people who need those solutions, right? Every Moses needs to shout, and I believe that the person with the liberators, the ones with the solutions, they need to shout so that people can actually locate them. Those are the two core issues that I have found. Because trust you me, when a woman internally you're settled, nothing on the outside can actually destabilize you. We've seen that over the years and even throughout generations. Women have faced so many things, but how come, despite all of the, be it even environmental, systemic, somehow there are women who are able to break through? It's because internally they were settled. So I feel the greatest barriers to fight are the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves and about our achievements.
Susan, do you shout enough, do you think? Would you say? I know I don't.
No, I think like what she said is truly, truly very true, because I think being able to voice out, being able to speak up, not like being scared, and also like, oh, it's men, I'm supposed to be like this, do like this, I have to achieve this, to be able to speak up. It's something that most women are really, really coming through and out of it. They are able to voice out their whatever they want to say, they are able to bring it out, and like sometime back there. Yeah.
It's quite interesting what you said, because actually, if I was to describe myself, I would probably say mother first, which I don't, well, I mean, being a mother obviously defines you, but I don't, when you were talking, it was quite an interesting, I think, the internal, how I see myself internally.
Yeah.
I need to change that. So thanks for the therapy.
You're welcome. I'll send you an invoice.
Yeah.
Susan, from your experience in building Nampalka and working with communities, what does meaningful representation look like beyond being kind of just around?
Okay, thank you very much. people who take notes, put down pointers. So yes, for me, I think meaningful representation goes beyond just showing up. It's about showing up with purpose. So when I'm representing a community, for instance, Nampelka, I'm carrying the voices of everyone in the community into every conversation I'm going to. So being authentic, first of all, is very, very key. People will sense genuine things or whatever you're saying, if it's genuine from the conversations you're having. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, yes. So when the communities see us advocating, when we're walking, we're talking about our community, that's really amazing. It makes us feel good and represent everyone in our community. Yeah.
I suppose for both of you, there have been moments when your leadership approach you felt was kind of questioned or undervalued at all? And how did you kind of navigate through that?
Oh, yes, always. I mean, the thing about leadership is that you're putting yourself out there. And the funny thing is, just in the human psyche, all of us want leadership, but not all of us are naturally okay with being led. So there's a little fighter in us that's always like, why should you lead me? Why should you give me direction? But at the same time, you also need that direction. So somebody needs to step up at some point and say, you know what? I'll take the arrows, I'll take all of the fires, and I'm going to run with it, whether you like it or not. I'm just going to run with it. So you don't need permission in some situations to lead. But I think leadership is more of who shows up and who gets the work done. So for me, if I should give an example, because I love telling stories to just cement some ideas, there is a time, in fact, it was last year, I went through a very interesting situation because I've been so used to entrepreneurship for such a long time that I forgot how to be an employee. I forgot how to, work under, team. The dynamics is just completely different, right? And so I found myself leading a communications team. It was over a nonprofit, and we were raising high amounts of money. And oftentimes, especially when you're raising high amounts of money, 66 million is not change, right? And so I was responsible for communications. And I was leading a team of Gen Zs, whom I love. I love Gen Zs. They help you to be effective, and they get stuff done if they are led well. So I loved the challenge of, hey, I'm going to be held accountable to also how I lead, not just the work. But on the other side, we had leaders who are of older generations, there was millennials, and there were guys who were a little older than myself. And so we had this generational bridge, and I was in the middle, as usual. As millennials, we often find ourselves in the middle, where I understand the dynamics of the older generation, but at the same time, I understand the urgencies of Gen Zs. And to be honest, the kind of world that we live in right now, it's more aligned with how Gen Zs think, because it's their generation, it's their time to bring out whatever it is that they're supposed to birth. So I found most of the time, my challenge was that, yes, we need work to be done, but also we needed our leadership to be more empathetic. Yes, they're young people, but they need rest. They're young people, but they can't be bossed around. They're young people, but they also deserve honor and respect. And so I set up systems and structures to protect the team so that we don't go through burnout. Because, oftentimes communications teams and media teams are often very sensitive and very extroverted. When something goes down, everyone senses it. So we were like, for us to survive, I need to protect the team. Even if the leaders don't like it, even if the leaders are used to maybe the sort of like the old school type of the leader says something, you do it. And for me, I said, no, the team comes first. Let me tell you, I had one of the best strides ever as a leader, because these guys, I was even delegating roles. They were doing things that they hadn't studied. And they realized that, hey, I'm actually able to lead a community. I'm actually able to produce an entire advert, to help people in Kibra and the rest of the Kenyans we ended up raising 10 million, but that was huge, especially during a time when, as a country, many people are holding on to their money. We ended up raising over 10 million shillings to make community impact in Kibra. And I was like, this is what the Gen Zs achieved. And they saw exactly how they made the personal contributions, all because we had systems and structures that enabled that. So that was a time my leadership was challenged, but I'll take it any day, anytime. I'll do it all over again. Because then I came to realize, hey, sometimes you need to protect the team. And also in terms of their times, there are generations that capture and that they carry certain responsibilities. And it's our time to actually allow these young people, even in these little small spaces, like in a team, to take their space, to take their leadership. I hate micromanaging. I hate it, because when can I have my lattes? When can I go on dates? When I'm busy looking at all emails and everything, I'm just like, I need people to do what they're supposed to do. And I've hired these guys because they're smart enough. So you work with smart people so that they deliver. And then you just come on board and offer that leadership. So that's something I really learned.
And do you think that a man would have approached it differently?
Absolutely. Because women, naturally, and this is something that I love about the work that I do, the reason why I work a lot with women is because I train them on how to lead as women. Women will naturally lead through influence. Men lead through power and position. And it's okay, because that's how they're built. But the thing is to sense which situations are you to apply such stuff. For women, we are interested in process. So even when I'm pitching for money to women, I insist on the process. Because once a woman trusts the process and the people, she's then able to invest more of her time. But men are all about wins, wins, wins. And so I believe the two dynamics are very much important in various leadership aspects.
Susan, how about you?
Amazing. Yeah, for me, it's all about community. So when building communities, people usually see it as soft work. See, it's like bringing people together and that's it. But building communities, might not be like tech, funding and whatnot, but now with the process, the energy, the creativity put in it, when it starts to grow, they start seeing engagement, they start seeing partnerships, collaborations, the value. When they start seeing the value, now they are like, okay, yeah, really this is happening. So continuing delivering and continuing perfecting and doing it better and better every day, that's usually a good thing. And that's how I tackle that a little bit. Yeah.
And how would you say women approach communities differently to men? Well, what do they get different? Do they have different achievements from it? Do they see them differently? Do they approach it differently, would you say?
Yes. I think women do see it and approach it differently because women are nurturers. So when they hold something, they believe it has to grow. They have to see it to fruition. So even the process, the journey, they are a bit patient. So growing it step by step and seeing it like, wow, we did this and it's growing. It's amazing. Yeah.
And one of the obvious things is obviously women have to often, in my experience, juggle family life and work, which often, managing the children in itself is a task. But what I find impacts me more than anything is actually my kind of health and well-being.
Yes.
And my break time and my ability, my bandwidth for real rest and restoration, I suppose. How do you see managing that balance with health and wellness shaping women's career journeys differently? Do you think they choose different career paths, or do you think that they're pushed or they drop off the leadership ladder a little sooner to accommodate?
Wow, that's a complex question. But a very good one that I feel every generation needs to address. What does this look like, right? So, for example, we come from, like my mom is a boomer. They were the first people most of them were, getting into the corporate world, getting into the career world. Many of them had careers, right? First generation career women. And then after that, there was lots of women who now built what we know as the corporate world today, and we are beneficiaries of that. Yeah. And then, of course, there's now us millennials who are born in, the first people who experienced technology, and we are now the guys who are building and innovating around it. And then there's Gen Zs who are born in technology, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting world, right? What I think should actually be the focus of many women right now in terms of health and wellness is not even trying to make sense of work-life balance. I honestly believe that's a hoax. I don't believe it exists. What I believe instead is work-life integration. I believe some things are more important in some seasons, more of a priority in some seasons than others. Because I've worked with very busy women all the way from Wall Street to international fashion designers to stay-at-home moms to even diplomatic spouses. And what I've noticed is the difference is that it's sort of like a current. It's like a radio frequency. Is that this Wall Street woman, there are days where she needed to leave her child somewhere to take care of that child so that she can show up for those Wall Street meetings, because Wall Street does not play around. And she was one of the first Latino women in Wall Street. So it does not play around for, hey, can I leave my child somewhere? No, you need to organize yourself and organize in your life in a way that allows her to now thrive in that particular season, to put in the sweat capital that will get her to where she is now, where even her son ran for office, in the state of Boston. And so I honestly believe that for women, we need to give ourselves grace and know we can be everything, but not at the same time. And there are times that the mommy duties will come on board and you will need to show up, because that child will never be that age ever again. And the CEO role needs to, you need to relax a bit, right? And then there are moments the CEO role comes on board and the mommy one will have to understand, because, hey, I'm making this sacrifice for you so that you don't ever have to feel guilty about being a mom, because it's beautiful, it's wonderful, but it's not perfect, and I'm doing the best that I can, right? And one thing that, an interesting fact I recently learned is that the modern day workplace is actually designed around the hormonal cycle of men. Men have the sun cycle, day, night. So men at the beginning of the day have high testosterone levels. By evening, that 5 p.m., which is work, when you're going home, that's when the testosterone levels are very low. That's when they get to relax. But meanwhile, for the rest of us women, we follow the moon, which is lunar, which is for a full month. The Ayuma you find in September 1st is not the Ayuma you'll find in 15th. It's not the same Ayuma you'll find in 28th.
Yeah.
You might think I'm a completely different person, but we need to allow our workspaces and our workplaces, and even in terms of policy, to expect our women to change, to be mothers, to have menstrual cycles, to have periods. Some women cannot even stand up. Some women need to be hospitalized during their periods. Such things need to be reflected in our policies. And so I feel like even one of the most beautiful things to anyone who may listen to this podcast, I would ask you and challenge you to just look at your calendar. Look at your calendar and ask me what takes. Does it really show flow? And your calendar, the mommy duties, they need to be in your calendar. The things that make you feel nice, the wines, the wine tasting events, they need to be there. The massages, they need to be there, along with the CEO staff. So that when you look at your calendar, you see this is a complete whole person who's doing her best to show up in the most important areas of her life. We don't want our calendars to just be all about work, because if it's not planned for, then it will not happen. But if that little recital is there, if your nail dates, if your date with your husband is there, all of that needs to show up on your calendar.
That's great advice.
You're welcome.
I think the Ayuma calendar should be available at all KOFISI workplaces.
Coming to you.
Wonderful. Yeah. I suppose that leads quite neatly to the next question, really, in terms of workplaces, in Africa doing enough to support women's well-being. I mean, we, have a strong, supportive network for our female members. We have obviously women's, we have maternity rooms. We are obviously open 24/7 as well, so you can come and work by the moon should you wish. And the work that the facilities allow for flexible working policies as well. But do you think we could be doing more? Susan.
Okay.
What would you have in your ideal workplace that would really make you as a woman feel I am catered for?
Okay, first of all, KOFISI is doing a really good job.
Thank you.
Yes, having the spaces designed with wellness in mind, it's key, it's very important. So from wellness rooms to the flexible workplaces, I think I'm yet to experience all of that. I bet you have. So yes, I think with time, as I go by, I think with patience, I can be able to visit, understand and see, and maybe hopefully be able to give feedback. But at the moment, I'm yet to experience that. Yeah.
Very good question. And I agree. Honestly, KOFISI is doing an exceptional job with positioning professionals and business owners with beautiful work experience, and not just in the same of space, in the form of a space, but the fact that there's an angle of productivity. Every single thing that you guys do, it's to enable the humans who check into KOFISI to be productive in their dreams. And so I feel like that is huge, because it's not profit, it's productivity, because productivity will then lead to profit. That's something that Sir Richard Branson, he campaigns for, which I honestly believe in. Take care of your people and they'll take care of your business. And one thing that I believe, I've seen it, I believe that the representation is beautiful. Right from once you get into the desk, you're seeing women. I think these are things that sometimes we take for granted, but I believe when you walk into a space and you see women in leadership, like yourself, like Patience, even from the receptionist, the warmth, and you can't fake joy. You can't fake it. And I'm a very sensitive person. I am able to walk into spaces and I can tell when people are putting on a face and when people are being authentic. And one thing that I've sensed at KOFISI is that there's a genuineness of we are doing something big here and we are being included. And I feel that is important, even outside of the premise where maybe there may not be cameras or I don't know what, people by themselves just sharing positive things about KOFISI. I think that by itself shows there's a positive culture around women and productivity, where, of course, there's always room for growth. And one thing, obviously, I have to be biased because I'm a storyteller. I want to hear more of the stories of women. I want to see them even on social media. I mean, given the space is amazing, it's beautiful, but who are the women in these spaces? What are they doing? What are they building, Because for myself, I'm an investor. And I love investing my time, my effort, my networks in spaces where I know women are thriving. And I'm unapologetic about that. I want to make sure that people are being well taken care of. And so when I see and maybe have a sample of some of the stories of the women at KOFISI, then I can be able to be like, wow, I want to be part of that, or I want to add to that. Or, hey, how can I support more of what they're doing? Because some of us who are in the advocacy space, all of the time we are fighting the fires. But whenever we experience the moments of joy, I want to be able to connect these women as well, right? Because constantly, let me be very honest, with my male counterparts who are like super networkers, just recently I connected this amazing consultant guy who's consulted for even presidents and stuff like that, with a friend of mine who owns a camp at the Mara, the very first community-owned camp at the Mara. Those two are like, send me his number. And these guys don't know each other. But they were like, send me his number, we connect. And so I didn't need to do that babysitting. So I feel like if I hear of a woman at KOFISI who's doing something amazing and she said, this is my plans, I don't need to know too much about her. The fact that she's around KOFISI, that also it's an integrity check. And I can be able to be like, reach out to this person, reach out to this person. I literally did that before I came here. Somebody asked, do you know a life coach? And I was able to connect her with somebody who I've literally watched grow, right? Because of somebody in the community who was able to say, this is what we are doing. So the stories go further than what KOFISI is able to do. The stories of the women and the impact that you're having in their lives, they go further into rooms that you have no idea. So I want to see more of those stories. I want to see women bringing their children to work so that they see this is where mom goes to when she isn't able to come up to school or she isn't able to come for sports day. The kids should know this is where mom goes, because these generations, they're too much on that social media. They need to know real work actually happens out of their phones. Yeah, so those are two things I would suggest.
100%. Yeah. I'm taking notes for my 14-year-old daughter.
You're welcome.
So Susan, how would you say women in grassroots and community businesses are kind of driving innovation outside of tech? And how is it sort of gender shaping?
Oh, yeah. I think even we did have an event at KOFISI, think Riverside. So from the panel, even engaging with the women we managed to really understand quite that women are really doing a lot of things down there, and some, they're not taking the flowers. Yeah, they're not really taking the wins, because being able to work with a community of women who are really nurturing the culture in their community, being able to create things and bringing them out there, it's usually something we rarely do, people rarely talk about. So having them share their stories, what they do, bringing it out, sharing it with the community, the world at large. Again, like Michelle said, social media. You go there, it's like you're understanding, you're relating with the story, apart from technology, because some of them, there is a community in, I think, Mau, they don't have access to internet. Some of them, they have feature phones, but that is not stopping them from what they can do in the community. So having the opportunity to be able to produce whatever you're doing, being able to share your story, being able to be in the community and sharing something that is amazing, not being able to be stopped by innovation and technology, is something that we are reaching out to. So we are now going down there to the communities themselves, because those are stories people need to see, people need to know. Yeah.
Because tech must have had a huge impact on the way that culture is informing other cultures. In your work, it must have been a real sort of driver in facilitating stories, and for both of you, because things like podcasts and it just become very, very accessible, and there's no restriction over what you can say. It's a very liberating kind of space. How would you say that innovation has helped you in your journey so tech and innovation specifically?
Yeah. That's a good question. And first of all, my business wouldn't be standing if it wasn't for tech, because in 2019, I was able to move outside of Nairobi. And at that time, I was going through just some challenges, business, everything. Like, things were just not working. The business was not businessing. And so I decided to start on a clean slate. I moved to a completely new town, started from scratch. And I had the opportunity to ask myself, listen, no judgment, no nothing. If I am to do this all over again, would I still continue? Or can I choose another path? And I decided yes. Then I said, okay, being outside of Nairobi, what will enable me to do this at an even more efficient level and even with more excellence? And that's when I discovered, hey, I can take things online. Because at that time I was doing one-on-one coaching. You must meet in person. Sometimes you're stuck in traffic 4 hours in, 4 hours out. It's too much. And so I just felt like, hey, how can I reconcile my time? So the conversation of how can I redeem my time began in 2019. And so I was able to migrate my entire coaching and consulting business online. Little did I know that the next year, 2020, people would now be, because of the pandemic, people would be shut in, now depending on things like Zoom and whatnot. I was already on point. I already had the programs. Everything was sorted out. So I think technology, one thing that I love technology, and now I'm in this exciting space where I'm discovering AI, and I literally use AI for productivity and efficiency. And I just think that as Africans and people who are within the marketplace in Africa, we finally have the opportunity to leapfrog. We've been left behind for such a long time, and we have solutions. We have all of the gold, all of the amazing stuff. There's an exceptional guy. His name is Dr. James Moria. He's the CEO of Centum Investments. He said that if Asia can be the workshop of the world, why can't Africa be the service desk? And I think that's why KOFISI is so successful, because you guys have tapped into that. You guys get the service desk thing. And I feel like we can't do things the same way that we even did last year. We must take advantage of technology, whatever can help us leapfrog and lead the world into this thing. We are in the perfect time to do that. So technology has helped me leapfrog an entire global pandemic. My business still stands. Not many businesses were able to survive. I think over I think whatever the statistics show, that's a little level. That's a little amount of what actually happened. I believe it's more than 500,000 businesses, but I think it's even more that closed down because of the pandemic. But because of technology, we are able to take care of, replace tasks with technology, so that we can, the awesomeness that makes us human, which is our creativity, our thinking capacity, our coming together like this in spaces of innovation and connection, we can focus on that because technology is taking care of the things that we didn't need, those tasks that we don't need to waste our time or our minds thinking about those things. And also, this is the beautiful time to collaborate. As we collaborate as Africans, as business people, as innovators, we get to come together and we move faster when we do it together. So that technology takes care of the other stuff, then we do the stuff that only humans can do. And that's how I feel like we should use it as a resource. We should use it as a strategy. We should also use it as a multiplier. It should multiply our time. It shouldn't take away our time. That's one thing I believe. That's a rule I have about technology. And I feel it, and especially in this time of AI, where majority of the population of the workforce in the next 5 years is literally majority of the workforce in the world is going to be African. We need to position ourselves for that, but also with technology, because we are the best. I think even in terms of ChatGPT, we are the third highest users of ChatGPT, and we are so easy to use. Like we are such a beautiful population, because when it comes to technology, we're already natives to that. We don't fight it, we adapt to it. And so I feel like we're in the perfect country to be able to pilot and to even leverage technology and make mistakes along the way, because perfection is for who? I don't owe anyone my perfection.
No one learns anything.
The only person I owe perfection is God, and even God says, come as you are. So who are you to expect me to be perfect, right? So I believe let us fail fast. Let us leverage technology, not to replace us, but to help us multiply and to redeem our time. Yeah.
Just I think to add on what Michelle said, technology and AI, all that, it's the future. We are there and we have to live in it. So it's just to enable us, and it's not to take away our creativity, because we still need the human aspect of it. So being able to have all this, if you have tasks that you can automate, you do that to save time and put it somewhere else instead of manually doing everything. A lot of tools, everything nowadays, it's online. You can find it. May it be free, may it be paid, according to your team or how far you can go or how very much you really need it. So being able to have that, everything we go online. Nowadays, you need what? I need to search first. Okay, I know they have a physical office and all that, but I need to go online. I need to see them. I need to read the reviews before I go there, before I buy anything. So we have to do that, because online is where we all live. I think most of us, we live online. We are always on our mobile devices. We are always on our laptops in the office. So we take time at least to learn something new. We continue upskilling, because technology is here to stay. AI is here to stay. So adapting it is the best we can do.
For sure. I mean, I don't think I've had a day in the past 6 months where I haven't used AI in some form. I mean, it might be to find my way out. I mean, I use it to consult pretty much everything. Should I wear black or yellow today?
Yes.
It's my friend. No, it's exciting. I mean, I think that I agree with you. AI is a very exciting feature. I think the thing to understand about it is just how to use it, and how to use it sensibly, and those are the skills that people really need to understand
and
responsibly, and that my daughter asked me this morning. She said, "Mummy, how did you run a business before when you didn't have computers or technology or AI?"
I love that.
Yeah. And I had to think. I mean, it's not too far back, but it was. I remember at the news desk, because I used to be a journalist, and we used to have. I can't remember the room that they called it, but they used to have photographs of all the news from all the newspapers, and there was someone sitting down in the depths of the BBC newsroom, and you would call down and say, "We need a story on, I don't know, Ruto," and they would be able to find the newspaper articles. They'd pull out 3 or 4 news articles, and then they would bring those up and then you do all your research from those newspaper articles. And now, I mean, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
But isn't that an interesting dynamic, though? That technology is replacing what a human being was doing before.
Yeah.
So I feel like for everything, AI can be taught. The fact that AI needs to be taught, it means that human beings need to lead with the ideas, with whatever that is. So even me, my challenge to your daughter would be build one. Okay. Build one. Build a business without technology and then see how things go. Because I think for those of us who had the opportunity to not have too much technology around us, we learned the importance of human connection. And I feel that's the thing AI can never replace. And I think that's what enables us to see the both the good and and also the challenge, where the limit is in terms of AI. Like now having an AI girlfriend, how does that work? Like seriously, what is that?
Yes.
You know, even in terms of therapy, like fine, I know there are good AI sort of like, what is it called, like therapy apps and stuff like that. But there is the importance of sitting down with another human being who's gone through some experiences and them listening to you and you receiving advice from that. So I feel like there's also a limit. That's why responsible AI is something 100%. That's really key. But my challenge to your daughter would be like, try building one.
You're kind of
lemonade business.
Are you an auntie?
Yeah.
Are you an auntie? I know
you know.
Yeah,
I'm an auntie.
You should be. Do you want to be an auntie?
Yes.
Okay. So you're now adopted.
I'm an auntie.
Fantastic. We're nearly running out of time, but I suppose my final question would be that the importance of women having leadership roles for a sustainable future, not just for Africa, or maybe just for Africa. How differently do you think the women look at the world and naturally kind of take on board the future as a concept when they're thinking about business, etc.? What would you say? Because I think women are more future focused.
Yes.
And you know, for me personally, as a mum, you know, I feel responsible and indebted to provide the kind of environment and the future that I experienced myself, I suppose. And so for me, sustainability, not just in business, but also kind of in the environment, etc., is a hugely important factor for how we work, how I work, and how KOFISI has its own sustainable goals as well. I was just wondering. And I feel that that's less, I think about it more naturally than maybe a man would, who is sort of driven by perhaps a different kind of goal.
Yeah. Okay,
maybe I'm being too simplistic.
No, you're not. I think it's very important. Okay, I absolutely understand what you're saying. And I see it there's the natural way in which women think and just build, and then there is the way in which men build. I honestly think this is maybe why we were created the way we were created. Because to be honest, women look at things long term and process, right? And men look at things like, we need to do this now, like now. Men have a way of shelving things, like saying, right now I'm focusing on this. Then the next 2 hours I'm focusing on this. As women, we are thinking about all of these things at the same time, including the next thing that's going to happen, including what happened in the morning, including why did that lady look at me that way, including that social media post. Yeah. We are able to think about all of those things at the same time. I think that's why we need to collaborate, both as men and women, to get this stuff done. This world can't exist without men. This world can't exist without women. And I believe we bring both of the best of both worlds. Men are very good with goals, by the way. They're very good with goals. They'll keep you focused. They'll be like, we'll need to do this. But at the same time, what's our goal if it has no vision? Mm-hmm. So the women will keep you accountable to the long form. And it's because that's how we've been created, right? That's why we have a 28-day cycle, not a 24-hour cycle, right? So that's why I believe that two of us working together, that's why you have the numbers of... Back when I used to be in the humanitarian world, the reason why so many billionaires invest their money into organizations that tend to invest in women is because there's a 92% reinvestment back into their communities. Women always remember where they come from. Yeah. And I learned this, it's even in nature. You know, when you go to Diani, not Diani, is it Diani? The Turtle Bay. Do you know the turtles remember? The turtles remember, the female turtles remember where they were born, and that's why they come there every year to give birth, and then they go back into the sea. So it's something about women. We always remember where we come from, and we always reinvest back in where we come from. And so I believe that's why we need that collaboration. The second thing is that I've met exceptional men who are visionaries. Now this one is now a leadership type, right? They are men who think about the future. And I recently met one, and I have lots of them as friends, because visionaries tend to hang out with fellow visionaries. Because for me, I can't build something if I don't know where we are going. I need to know where we're going, and then we work our way backwards so that now the goal we are making now makes sense. I've met exceptional visionaries who think about the future, who are thinking about the issues of Gen Zs. For example, Dr. James Moria, he's an excellent visionary. He's thinking about how can we enable young people, the 650,000 graduates who don't have jobs, how can we get them jobs while in Kenya and help them prosper in Africa? They don't need to leave the continent. They don't need to leave their country. They don't even need to leave their hometown. But through technology, how can they make money and be wealthy and prosper in Kenya? So these are the guys, and they are building with their own money. There are people who've invested millions just to give these people a chance, and they're thinking about the future. So what I think we need to do is maybe perhaps bring visionaries together, share those ideas, collaborate, because we can get there faster. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And so I believe when visionaries are brought together, you won't feel like you're alone. You won't feel like you're depressed because you're like, why aren't things happening? You know, but you'll be like, you know what? There's progress. And when I see you progress, I'll celebrate it. It's not a competition. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when you thrive, I also thrive. So I think we need to get to that collaborative space. Yeah.
Yes. I also think like women naturally, we are journey oriented or focused. Nice. Yeah, we see the journey. I come from here, I take the first corner, go here, go there. But men are really wired to the destination. They're already seeing the end of the line. It's like, this is where I want to be. But they're not considering the whole journey. It's like, I don't care, I want to get there. So when both come, like the way Michelle said, collaborate, the two of them, there is the one destination-oriented and the journey-oriented. So it's easy to walk through the path together and finally get to the destination.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think you can make a proverb out of that.
Yes,
I think that'll be a good one.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Put it on a T-shirt. Yeah. Or you could launch it at the women's event we have later in the month.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining me today. It's been wonderful talking to you both.
Thank you
for having us.